3 downtown San Francisco luxury retail stores robbed in 1 week. 1 week. We've got a Louis Vuitton. We had a Gucci store robbed for about $48K. We also had Burberry's, all within Union Square. Union Square had a rash of robberies in 2017 and in 2021, most recently. This is like round 3 of Union Square. As businesses leave, some are left, and these robberies are just happening because they're happening, because we've made it so easy for this just to be a thing. And, we're not really chasing after anybody. We're not really putting anybody in jail. And just California is just open season on retail. Let's get into it. Here we go. Let's figure out what's going on. And you know what's going on. We're going to talk about it anyway. Here we go. San Francisco are investigating 3 robberies at luxury stores that all happened this week. The most recent happened Sunday afternoon when the Gucci store on Stockholm Street was hit. All of these are basically in Union Square, which is, I will show you, here we go, Gucci. All right, here's Union Square. That's where all 3 of these are located. Here is the Tenderloin. You guys see that? Yeah. Okay. So here's Gucci, Tenderloin, right in here. I mean, you are basically on top of it. So you've got this kind of crazy homeless open air drug market. And then you've got this, what was once a nice mall, Union Square, that has lost, I don't know, how many podcasts have I done of businesses that have basically said, you know what? San Francisco's been great for us, but just not in Union Square, just not in Westfield Mall, all kind of in the same area. It's just been this fantastic exodus of retail from downtown San Francisco. And what is invariably happens is that if a business has more than one location, they will shut down the Union Square and keep running the other locations wherever they may be. One of my other podcasts earlier today was on a hat company, a haberdashery, that had been there for over 100 years. It just closed down at the end of June in Union Square. But they've got other locations in San Francisco, and they're basically like, yeah, not enough traffic there, and people are getting robbed, and it's just basically not safe. So therefore, visit us online or visit us at our other locations, which are thriving. There are areas of San Francisco that are doing really well. We never talk about them because they're doing really well. We focus on, okay, here's the downside. Here's the downside of what San Francisco is facing. Because you've got this massive doom loop occurring, and a lot of it has to do with policy. It has to do years of policy going sideways the wrong way. And then with the pandemic and the work from home situation, all the technology that was developed in San Francisco over the years, tech-wise, we started to see some of that stuff come up to Seattle. When the employees started coming to Seattle, started coming to Microsoft. It was the main big one, in the 80s, and it had been happening in Silicon Valley for quite a while and in San Francisco for quite a while. So all that technology that's there, it allows people to work from home just fine. As long as you got an internet connection, you're golden. And so why would companies want to spend XYZ on really expensive office space in downtown San Francisco if they don't have to? Well, on top of that, you've got Proposition 47, which doesn't really apply here because these thefts, when you go 48 grand, yeah, that's going to get some eyeballs. And that's what the Gucci robbery was that we're talking about here. So the most recent happened Sunday afternoon. Proposition 47 was if it's under $950, it is no longer, it's a misdemeanor. You might get a ticket. Maybe, probably not. The most recent happened Sunday afternoon when the Gucci store was hit. San Francisco Police Department and California Highway Patrol gave chase down the peninsula, but they didn't catch him. They got away. Bad guys got away. Also on Sunday afternoon, there was a theft at Louis Vuitton in the Bloomingdale's downtown. Yeah, not good. Not good. Police say employees believe 10 people were involved. Just did a podcast in Chicago where they had 25 armed robberies over last weekend. 25. I mean, that is literally an epidemic. But it's also kind of one of those things where when you don't have law and order, you defunded your police, and then you basically elect a soft on crime mayor. I think that really gives the green light to, hey, do whatever the F you want. Steal from whomever you want. Steal a car, go rob people. It's all good. And that's literally what's going on. Now in San Francisco, Mayor London Breed, she has taken a little bit of a tougher stance on open air drug use and some of those kinds of things. All right. I'm listening. I'm listening. Even if, these mayors that get elected I am diametrically opposed policy wise most of the time. But if they come up with something that I agree with, you're going to hear it from me. Like Mayor Ted in Portland recently just said, yeah, we can't be handing out tinfoil and straws for people to smoke fentanyl with. This is a no-go. Mayor Ted came down hard on that because Multnomah County in where the location of Portland, that's what they're doing. The harm reduction, which is all harm, no reduction. Those folks have the bright idea of, well, heroin's on the downswing. So we can't use that whole excuse to give out people clean needles so that, we save them from hepatitis. They're just trying to get in front of people, right? To do their thing. To me, it doesn't work because you're just encouraging people. Here's a clean needle. All right. Good luck with that. And we know you're not going to get, hepatitis, but you might OD. All right. And with fentanyl, you're handing out tin foil. Aren't they already stealing it from the mini mart? Aren't they already stealing it from the grocery store? So they're handing out tin foil and literally straws to smoke the fentanyl with. Here you go. I mean, everything except for the drugs themselves, right? Which are now dirt cheap. And that's why you've got such a crazy situation with all these folks, ODing. It's wild. It's wild. Police say 10 people were involved. A new federal law attempting to crack down on the online sale of stolen goods went into effect, but experts weigh in on if it will help San Francisco. You don't need an expert. All you need is somebody who understands a little bit of logic, and the federal law that has gone into effect impacts the black market aspect of the resale of said stolen goods, right? So you get some guy that goes in and, 3 or 4 of them go in and tag the Gucci store, right? They got 48 grand worth of merchandise. Well, they sell it online. So the federal law states that if you have more than 200 transactions that exceed $5,000 in sales, you need to disclose a bunch of information about your channel so that you can be identified. All right, is this legit or is this not legit? Now, if you don't do that and you sell this amount, then you might get like a $150 fine. Yeah, that's the geniusness that's what the federal law is. I mean, are you kidding me? You're going to steal 48 grand and then you're going to worry about a $150 fine? That's if they can figure out, any of these are stolen goods from your store. How about just creating multiple accounts? What about that? Not everybody does just one account and leaves it at that, right? Yeah. I mean, just the logic behind some of these that's literally the federal crackdown that they're pointing at. All right, we're trying to crack down on the Amazon stores and the Facebook marketplace stores where they're selling this stuff. Really? I mean, that's what you're doing. You're not trying to, that is after the fact, right? That's not going to stop anybody from going in and jacking a store because there's basically no reason they shouldn't. They're going to get away with it. And even if they don't get away with said crime, they're not going to get prosecuted. And if they do get prosecuted, it's basically going to be a slap on the wrist. That's simple. So why wouldn't they go ham on Gucci's, on Louis Vuitton, on Burberry's? I mean, that's where you've got all the expensive stuff, right? San Francisco Police Department has not announced any arrests. Oh, I am shocked at that. Multiple sources have told ABC 7 News that the estimated value of the goods stolen is around 6 figures. So call it $100, Call it a Hyundai solid, right? Let's go ahead. We've got a little bit more of a detailed story here on the Gucci store near Union Square. All right. San Francisco police are, I think this doesn't make it in. Nah. How about we go like this? Oh, look at me go. Just dialing this in like there's no tomorrow. Yeah. All right. San Francisco police are searching for suspects in the armed robbery of the Gucci store near Union Square. And they say the thieves may be linked to at least one more robbery. That's the Louis Vuitton store, I believe. Because the Burberry one, that was a single operator. He's the lone dog. He's just out there just doing his own thing. The police department said the store located at 240 Stockton Street was robbed just after 3:30 p.m. These are middle of the day, broad daylight. Go in. Somebody's armed within the group, masked up. You can't see any. I've watched the footage on it. Can't see anything. They've got hoods, over their faces, and they've got a mask. So you literally might see a tiny little patch up here, but in most of the camera angles, you just can't see that. A witness who did not want to be identified, shocking, because you got a lot of gang members committing these robberies. And do you want a gang after you? I particularly don't. Hard no-go on that. A witness who did not want to be identified said there were anywhere from 4 to 6 men involved in the robbery. So when we say organized retail theft, these guys are going in with a game plan. Same thing with grocery stores. They're going in with a list. They're doing their shopping. They're just not paying. Hey, my goal here at Gucci is to steal as many of these ridiculously overpriced bags as humanly possible. I mean, some of those bags, they're tiny little bags and they're like $2,500. Like, okay, yeah, all right. Should have started a bag store back in the day, right? Isn't that what everybody says? I could have done that. Like, yeah, whatever. She said she and her daughter entered the store just seconds before those robbers bursted in. I don't believe bursted in is the right terminology, but I'm going to let it go, and began grabbing handbags from displays. I believe the term is burst in. If you're an English major, let me know in the comments. Did I get it right? I'm not really sure. I just couldn't believe what I was looking at. They were pulling things off the shelves and running back and forth, and I saw a gun in the waist, and that was really scared me. And at the time, my daughter had just been escorted to the basement to use the restroom, she said. Could you imagine having your daughter? I wonder how old the daughter is. Just going down there, comes back up in the middle of an armed robbery. Yeah, that's last time they'll be shopping in a nice store. Yeah, nothing $5,000 in therapy in San Francisco can't, fix, right? She said she was afraid her daughter would return while the gunmen were still in the store and one of them might get spooked and hurt her. Yeah. What do you say, right? What do you say? She said that she and the clerk were in tears after the men left and both were thankful that no one was hurt. Yeah, you were in the midst of an armed robbery. Super scary. Right? Terrifying. San Francisco police told NBC Bay Area in a written statement, the vehicle the robbers used was also involved in a separate robbery and that officers saw and pursued the car, but they lost it on the peninsula. On the peninsula. It's like, oh. Sucks. That sucks. But, policy in San Francisco, policy in California has given the gangs, organized retail theft, whatever you want to call it, whomever is doing it, whatever you got going on, has basically given them the green light to do this kind of activity. There's no reason they shouldn't, right? Even if you do get busted, you're not really going to do any time. Couple of years, you take that risk because the odds of you getting, number one, caught are slim. The odds of being prosecuted, slim. And the odds of being sentenced due to prosecution are slim. You got a district attorney who, the world is your oyster if you're a criminal right now. In Chicago, at 25 over the weekend, 25 armed robberies, maybe more because they couldn't keep track of all of them. They were just all happening so fast. Literally, they could not keep track of them. So again, you've created a situation where it's not, if you show up and you rob somebody with a stolen gun, remember back in the day when robbery of banks was such a big, huge thing? And then they created some laws where they basically said, if you rob a bank, we are going to drop the hammer on you and you're going to go away for a long time. You don't ever hear of banks really being robbed anymore, do you? Because the risk just isn't, it's not worth it. And banks have come up with technology that kind of deters that whole thing. But remember the movie Point Break? Oh, that was a great movie. Keanu Reeves. I mean, Gary Busey. I mean, that was just an epic movie. It was about bank robbers, going surfing around and, surfing around the world. And California was there. I think a couple of the Red Hot Chili Peppers were in that movie too. I think Anthony Kiedis and Flea were in that movie. I think one of them got shot in the foot. I mean, no, I know you will in the comments, but San Francisco, I mean, you just don't have that pushback like you used to on the whole bank robbery thing. Because I remember that. I remember that transition. I don't know how old I was, but it was like, okay, lots of banks are getting robbed. And so we're doing something about it. Here's the federal law. You're going to do XYZ number of years, no matter what. And now you've got these other stores where you might as well be robbing a bank, because you can go in, take your goods, take your stuff, and you've got a secondary market for stolen goods that might get you, 50 cents on the dollar. That's pretty good. That's pretty good relative to what it used to be. There was no liquidity in stolen goods back in the day. And now there is. You've got this secondary market, which is a black market. You can sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace. You can, open up your Amazon store all day long and sell this stuff. So why wouldn't you do that? Crime does pay. It's paying very well right now. And your risk of getting busted, it's pretty minimal. It's pretty minimal. So I feel like we're going through another one of those cycles right now of armed robbery, busting into, super high-end stores. We had that happen in Bellevue. There's footage of the Bellevue one, and it was right next to it was in a mall that I used to work out at. And I still go there because my hairdresser is in that mall and my ophthalmologist is in that mall. They got great rent during they locked in some really good leases during the Great Recession when, office space was there's nothing going on. It's like, nobody's really spending any money and got an oversupply of everything. So one of the robberies that took place in that mall was, I think it was a Gucci store. I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to envision. It was either Gucci or Louis Vuitton. There's like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and then, the watch company, not Rolex, but, I'll think of it. But, they're all right in a row. It's not like you can just, pick one off after another. You can. But one of the kids that did an armed robbery in the Gucci store, he ran out, and you might have seen this here on this channel. He ran out to what he thought was an open window because they're so clean. Boom, right into the security glass, knocked him out cold, went down. Security guy runs over. This guy's already out. I don't even have to, arrest him, citizen's arrest or anything. Guy just boom, went down. Funniest thing. You can check that out. It's probably on this channel here somewhere. But I think we're in another cycle of armed robbery going on right now. I think it's happening. I'm seeing more and more of these stories. They never really slowed down, but they go in like these ebbs and flows. And right now you're at one of these peaks. So, expect to see a lot of reimagining and rethinking public safety and, a whole lot of nothing, a lot of talking, whole lot of nothing, and more stores moving out. That's what's going to happen. People taking their business online, people taking their business to states where this isn't happening, where you don't have lax, soft on crime policies, where you don't have a soft on crime district attorney, where you've actually got prosecuting attorneys that are doing their job. That is so much for why people are migrating to red states, red cities, because they don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Now, California used to have just this ecosystem that supported business. And you've got, you've got the income tax, you got state income tax, you got incredibly high business taxes, you got high rent, chance of getting robbed high. Not enough people in San Francisco in particular to make it all go. Man, you have got a doom loop that is going to be tough to unwind, right? as that doom keeps happening, those things that I just described, and the whole work from home, you don't have enough people in the market to make it go. You're just going to see more and more of this, because why wouldn't you? Stores closing down and robberies happening because there's nothing really to stop it. So yeah. And you know what's so funny is that San Francisco officials, they say, well, actually our crime is pretty low. Well, the murder rate it's low. San Francisco is low. I'll give it that. But I believe their robbery and their property crime is off the hook. And so much of it is people are no longer reporting what's going on because they know the drill. Cops aren't going to catch anybody. They're not going to make any arrests. They're overrun. Too much of this is happening. Police got defunded. You know, the story just continually goes on. So why wouldn't they commit these crimes? That's my thought. I mean, why wouldn't you? World's your oyster. Keep going. Hammer down. Double down on your goals for this year, you armed robbers out there. Because why wouldn't you? Right? I mean, it makes sense to me. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is armed robbery going to stop in these communities? Let me know. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you soon. Hey, we got merch. We're selling a bunch of merch. You guys wanted the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. We've got this in white too, I believe. And then we got just a bunch of other stuff. It's cool. I like some of it. I think it's great. Thanks so much for supporting News for Reasonable People. We are about to crack 100,000 subscribers. That is exciting times. It seems like it's been forever, but it's actually only been a few years. Some channels take forever. Some channels just get there just like that. We're a news channel. It takes a while. I'm also an old guy. You know, I'm not some 25-year-old prancing around in a bikini. So yeah, I got to work. I got to earn it. So if you guys haven't subscribed already, love to have you subscribe. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.